Jess, I have to say, I've been seeing the name Restore Britain pop up more and more, and I'm trying to figure out if it's actually a serious new player or just another splinter group. What's the story here?
Great question, Mia. So, Restore Britain is definitely a new force on the British right, but it's one that was born out of a very specific kind of political drama. It officially launched as a movement in June 2025, then became a full political party in February 2026. But the real story is the split from Reform UK.
Right, and I remember hearing about that split. It involved Rupert Lowe, the MP for Great Yarmouth, didn't it? He was suspended from Reform for allegedly threatening the chairman.
Exactly. Lowe was suspended in March 2025 over allegations he made threats of violence against Zia Yusuf. The CPS eventually said there wasn't enough evidence to convict, but the personal rift with Nigel Farage was just too deep to repair. And that's key because it wasn't just a personality clash. It exposed a real ideological fault line within Reform UK.
So what's the actual ideological difference? I mean, both parties are right-wing populist, right? Where do they diverge?
Think of it as a battle between the electoralist wing and the radical wing. Reform UK under Farage wants to broaden its appeal. Restore Britain under Lowe wants to go harder and faster, especially on immigration. Lowe has explicitly criticized Farage for being, in his words, apprehensive about endorsing mass deportations.
Wow, so Restore Britain is basically the harder line version. What does that actually mean for their policies?
It means their platform is a significant escalation. For example, on immigration, Reform UK talks about reducing net migration. Restore Britain wants net negative migration. They're calling for the mass deportation of millions of people, abolishing the asylum system entirely, and removing benefits from all foreign nationals.
That's a huge step further. And it goes beyond just immigration, doesn't it? I've seen some pretty controversial stuff about religious garments and ritual slaughter.
You're spot on. They want to ban the burqa and niqab in public spaces, which aligns them with countries like France. And they want to ban both kosher and halal slaughter methods. But here's where it gets really interesting and a bit complicated.
How so?
Well, a critical analysis in The Telegraph pointed out a major unintended consequence. While halal slaughter often involves pre-stunning the animal, kosher slaughter requires the animal to be conscious. So a ban on both would disproportionately impact Jewish communities much more than Muslim ones. As one commentator said, it would make life impossible for some observant Jews here.
That's a really important distinction. So it's not just a blanket policy, it has very specific, disproportionate effects. What about their economic policies?
That's where they align with a lot of right-wing populist platforms. They want substantial income tax cuts, abolishing inheritance tax, defunding the BBC, and reducing the size of the state. It's the classic cut taxes and shrink government package.
And how does that compare to Reform UK's current standing? Are they actually a threat?
In terms of electoral support, not yet. YouGov polling from May 2026 puts Reform UK at about 26%, while Restore Britain is hovering around 3%. But here's the thing to watch. Restore Britain is structured as an umbrella party. They partner with local groups like Great Yarmouth First. That allows them to absorb existing right-wing formations and build a local base.
So they're building from the ground up. And I understand they claim around 133,000 members.
They do claim that, but we should treat those numbers with some skepticism for a new party. What's notable is that during their movement phase, senior conservative figures like Suzanne Hall and Sir Gavin Williamson were involved in an advisory board. That suggests there was some initial cross-party interest, even if it hasn't translated into formal endorsements.
So to sum up, Restore Britain is a harder, more radical version of Reform UK, born out of a personal and ideological split. It's still a fringe player in terms of national support, but it's building a local infrastructure and could be a disruptive force.
Exactly right, Mia. They're a party to watch, not because they're about to win a general election, but because they represent a faction that is pushing the entire right-wing conversation further in a radical direction.
Fascinating stuff. Jess, thanks for breaking that down for us. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next time with more analysis of the forces shaping British politics. Until then, take care.